Hey, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Are we live? It sure looks like we are. Hi. Welcome to another edition of Mashup Talk here on the Booty Mashup Twitch channel. Give it up for DJ Arison getting our Wild Animals Friday theme kicked off in style with the old happy hour. Always nice to see her hype girl Kat in there with her. And hi everyone. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Adriana A, and oh my god, I'm super out of it. Because it's 3 a.m. where I am right now, and I feel like my body is finally starting to get adjusted to Berlin time. I've now been in Berlin. You know, it's like I'm based in San Francisco, but Jupiter Gatling, my partner, is in Berlin. So a few weeks ago, I finally made it to Berlin, where I've been riding out the Corona apocalypse with the love of my life. So, how long have I been here now? Has it been 4 weeks, 5 weeks? I don't even know anymore. But I'm like finally starting to get adjusted to European Central European time. So I'm like, oh my god, okay, so that old 6 p.m. California West Coast showtime has now turned into 3 in the fucking morning. And it hasn't been a problem, but today I'm kind of feeling it. Like 2 hours ago, I was like, I need to go to sleep. But I have a show, so if I seem a little loopy, well, that's why. But you know, sometimes I just get loopy on this show, no matter what. So, and you know, like most mashup talks, I don't even know what the hell I'm going to talk about. I mean, I guess I'm going to talk about mashups. I'm going to talk about mashup culture. I'm going to talk about booty mashup, and this is like, we're just chatting for an hour. That's what this show's all about. You know, our channel needs like one of these. So here we are. And I'm here to take questions. I see you in the chat pod. Thank you everyone for being here. Thanks for hitting refresh. Our theme this weekend, we are now back to doing, I mean, for a while there, we were trying out themes that would be like both Friday and Saturday night, and a lot of themes that we picked were like perfect, like, you know, for you know, doing the whole weekender, you know, especially if it's like a decade theme, like the 90s 90s mashups. Oh yeah, we could do that. Like we can do that for days, not just a weekend. And you know, things like that. Burning Man obviously was like a whole week, but you know, but now we're getting into, you know, it's like, you know, not every theme can carry us through a Friday and a Saturday. So, so a lot of September, we have different themes for Friday and Saturday night. So our theme for tonight is wild animals, mostly because we love the Dance Commander Disco. And the Dance Commander Disco is, of course, our Zoom party run by the Dance Commander herself, Rami. And I had suggested to her, it's like, hey, if you guys want to do any themes, we can like do our Twitch stream to be, you know, whatever musical theme or, you know, costumey theme you guys want. I think it's great because we put, you know, if you join us in the Zoom party in the Dance Commander Disco, we of course put the whole put the Zoom party behind us. We all have green screens, and you know, and that's super fun. So they love to get dressed up at the Dance Commander Disco, and of course animals, like, you know, animal costumes, animal onesies, cat ears, dog ears, you know, just like animal stuff. Everyone loves that. So it's like, yes. So, so our theme tonight is wild animals. So definitely expect to see the Dance Commander Disco, you know, dressed up and ready to bring it. But tomorrow is Talk Like a Pirate Day. Yes, that is a real thing. We did not make this up. It is actually, look it up, Google it. International Talk Like a Pirate Day. So, arg, yeah, of course. I mean, it's like, this channel is all about pirates. I mean, if you look at our emotes, it's all like, like these piratey emotes, especially our first round of emotes. I mean, now it's like myself and Jupiter Gatling and DJ Time have some emotes. And hopefully if we ever get partner, the rest of our resident DJs can also get emotes. So let's hope. Let's hope, you guys, that third time will be the charm of us applying for partner, which we did, I think about 3 to 4 weeks ago. We applied again for partner, and like I said, this will be our third attempt. And just give us partner. I mean, it's like the big reason we want partner is just so we can get more emotes. I'm not kidding. I'm not even joking. I mean, I found out that you actually make a little bit more money with your subs as well, which is really good as well. But really the incentive was just all about like, oh my God, I really hope we can get partner just so we can get more emotes. Oh my God. Yes, DJ Harrison, we did have furries in the side room. God, that was a good party. We did drag queens versus furries, and we had a drag show on the main stage, and in the side room we had a furry party, and it was great, like this whole weird, cool intermingling of subcultures, and it was we love a theme here. We love our theme parties, but like pirates were the kind of like the original themes that we used to do, because as you can see, there is a Jolly Roger in our logo. Booty is sort of short for pirate booty, because all of the mashups we play are technically pirated. It's pirated music anyway. We did not get copyright clearances. We did not get permission from the artists or the record labels. So arg, we are just playing mashups. So a lot of our early theme parties were about pirate stuff. We did a pirate prom, a pirate ball. We did a DIY pirate fashion show. This is like super in the early days where people came to the party dressed up like pirates. So anyway, even to this day, even though we don't really have a strict pirate theme, our mascot is an inflatable 6-foot pirate. We still have pirate flags decorating the balcony. I mean, I'm saying all of this like it's the present tense. I mean, the truth of the matter is we haven't had one of those kind of parties in 6 months, you guys. It's been 6 months. We are 6 months into the coronapocalypse, and I just want to know, how's everyone's global pandemic going? Oh, I laugh so I don't cry. It's like we are getting by. There are good days and there are bad days, and I know my heart goes out to everyone in the U.S. I know it's been rough. I mean, between California wildfires, hurricane season, just the shit show that is, everyday life in America right now. And now we just found out that Supreme Court Justice Ruth Ginsburg died. She was such a champion for women's rights on the Supreme Court, and some causes that certainly we here at Booty Mashup stand behind. So it's a little bit like, ooh, what's gonna happen? Well, I guess we'll find out. Oh my goodness. So thank you guys so much for being here, hanging out, and mashups. Let's talk about mashups. I had a thought fairly recently. It's interesting the way that mashup culture tends to go in these waves. It's like when we first started Booty Mashup, it was 2003. And, mashups kind of got their start, like what we think of as the modern mashup movement, where there was like this very, internet based people taking like, not just like sample based, not like what hip hop had been doing for years, but taking it like one step further, actually several steps further, and like really mashing up an entire song and doing it for, like that, not just like taking a bit here and there. And we're talking like that's like around 2001, 2002, and definitely galvanized around a bunch of UK producers. So by the time Booty Mashup started in 2003, at least in the UK and in quite a bit of Europe, mashups were already over. It was over. It was like old news. And I think a lot of that had to do with also the British music press and the way that, especially the way that music culture is in the UK, where you are such you're like the hottest thing, right? Like, I mean, so many times it's like, a band gets on the cover of, one of the, national music magazines, and they haven't even actually released an album yet. It's just like a 7-inch single or a promo single that got released to radio. And, according to the British music press, they are like, the second coming of Christ. And then like 6 months later, they're like, oh, it's old, it's tired, they're boring, they're shit, that kind of thing. It's like, it's that super accelerated, pop culture music cycle. And mashups were part of that as well. Like when mashups first started coming out, everybody loved them. They got played on the radio in the UK. They, it was like definitely it was the hotness. And, so by the time we started our party in 2003, especially in the UK, mashups were considered dead. Mashups are dead. Actually, they didn't call them mashups then. They were bootlegs. Bootlegs are dead. And, it's like, so we sort of felt like Johnny come latelys to the scene a little bit, but we also didn't want to start a party until we had like a body of work that we felt like we could, sustain a 5-hour night of mashups and not simply be playing. I mean, especially at that time, the material that we had access to as mashup producers, I'm talking like the acapellas and instrumentals and things like that. It was like a lot of Eminem and Missy Elliott, and we didn't, so it was like we didn't want to throw a party and have it be like every other song is, Missy or Eminem. So we wanted to wait until we had a body of work, which, was a year or two into the scene. So by the time we started, it was like, okay, mashups are dead. But of course, in the US, no one had even heard what a mashup was. I mean, part of the reason we started Booty Mashup was just so we would have a party, a place to DJ that where it was like, okay, look, this is the concept of the event is a mashup. So that way, when you show up, it's like you're not going to run up to the DJ booth and be like, can you like play the normal song? So, and at that time, around 2003, 2004, even into 2005, we got a bunch of press. Because it was like, ooh, this is a new thing, and then of course, I think in the US as well, it was like, then you had the Grey album, by Danger Mouse. You started having, like in 2006, you had Night Ripper, the album by Girl Talk really kind of gained some traction. You had things like Dean Gray American Edit, which was also 2006. So that was, 2005, because we're about to come up onto the 15-year anniversary of that. That definitely got quite a bit of attention. You had things like, DJ Z Trip and DJ P, Uneasy Listening. There was a bunch of, like, in the US state side of it, you definitely had a bunch of things happening where it was like, ooh, mashups are the hotness. And then once again, a couple years later, it's like, I remember people coming up to us and being like, oh my God, you're still doing that mashup thing? How's that going? Well, actually, it kept growing. I mean, it kept building up. And so I've seen this cycle of like mashups are the hotness, and then it's like kind of forgotten about. And then something will happen, where Jay-Z and Linkin Park, talk about Johnny feeling like Johnny come lately, but they release a legal mashup album still to this day, one of the very few legally released, signed off and everything, mashup albums. And so, then it was, a whole new generation of music fans are like, ooh, mashups. And then, another few years pass and it's no longer the hotness. And so I've seen this cycle a bit. So, we're talking ups and downs, peaks and valleys. And it's been interesting because I kind of feel like we're at a peak again. There's so much attention happening with mashups right now. Hey, Dunproofin, nice to see you in the chat. What excites you about mashup culture now? Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like there is just a tremendous amount of people producing mashups, and they're not familiar with that early 2000s UK scene. They might not even be familiar with Jay-Z, and Linkin Park. Who they're inspired by is like they see mashup producers on YouTube. People who've been like slowly building their YouTube channels over the years. I'm talking people like DJ Cummerbund, Bill McClintock, William Moranci, One Board Jew. These people that have like, 500,000, subscribers to their channel, or more. People who don't even like necessarily, they may have heard of Girl Talk, but maybe not even that familiar, may have heard of Booty Mashup, maybe not all that familiar. Instead, they're seeing like, the YouTubers, and then they want to like try their hand at it. And so and the thing with mashup culture, sadly, is that, unlike, other forms of music, that seems to be, kind of timeless, constantly gets renewed in the culture. Like what was hot in the 80s is now 80s classics, or classic rock. What rock in the 70s is now classic rock. I mean, hell, rock in the 90s is now sort of considered classic rock. It was like these genres keep getting recycled. They end up in movies, they end up in TV shows, they end up commercials. So the younger audiences get exposed to it. But with mashups, I mean, yeah, the music that we use, certainly, that applies. But like knowing about the history of mashup culture, that doesn't really happen that much. And especially because all this stuff is on the internet, but on a long enough timeline, that stuff gets wiped off the internet. So many early producers, their websites are gone. You go searching for those older tracks on the internet, they're gone. You can't just go to Spotify or iTunes or, YouTube and be looking up these older mashups because they're not there. And I've talked to so many producers who are still working today. We're talking DJ Schmoley, DJ Lobster Dust, Go Home Productions, who periodically have their stuff like just disappear from platforms, YouTube, SoundCloud, etc. So it's really, it's like our job as champions of the mashup scene to keep to keep this alive, to showcase not just the new hotness, but also the forgotten favorites. I just released another new Booty Mashup Top 10. It's our monthly thing. We've been doing it since 2005, I think, is when we started, just picking 10 of our favorites each month and posting them to our website. So, and there's always like, it's always like, okay, what are the new tracks? What are the new things that we're super into? What's the hot chart hits that everybody's mashing up? Of course, right now it's all about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion WAP. There's also The Weeknd, Blinding Lights, Taylor Swift, Cardigan. Like these are all in this month's Booty Mashup Top 10, but there always seems to be like some forgotten favorites that I love to showcase. And I know, our other DJs as well, like when they do a Booty Mashup top 10 as a guest curator, it seems that everybody like tunes in and I was like, hey, what track is great that has never been on a Booty Mashup top 10 that, we've been playing for years. Let's showcase this, things like that. So, and again, like this month, go to bootymashup.com here. I will put it in the chat. Here, I'm going to type it. Go check out there. I mean, that's the easy link. But it's also the most recent thing on our blog of, our Booty Top 10. And actually, it's not even a top 10 this month because I'm bad at math. I meant to do a 3-for-1 WAP mashup. So if I have 3 WAP mashups take the place of 1, well, then that actually should only be 12 mashups. But instead, it was like 3 for the price of 1 is a bonus on top of the 10. So there's actually 13 mashups in this month's Booty Mashup Top 10 because I'm stupid. Yeah, we should. Oh, we do need. Who's on top of our exclamation point commands? Jupiter Gatling? Yeah. Set that up. that if you do like exclamation point top 10, like the link for the top 10 will pop up. Oh God, that sounds like work. Oh my God. But yeah, WAP is so the new hotness. I jokingly posted to our social media channels yesterday. I was like, what's the limit on the number of WAP mashups that I can put in a Booty Mashup Top 10 before it gets to be too much? And I was actually really surprised that the overwhelming response seemed to be 10. All of them. Just, do a whole top 10 of just WAP mashups. But, I limited myself to 3 because I really, there are other songs that definitely deserve some spotlighting. So, what is this PDS mix Calexandra mashup that's been blowing up? Miley Cyrus and Stevie Nicks. Ooh, I want to write that one down, or just email it to me, please. Do it right now, PDS mix, while you're talking about it. Just send it to me because I send mashups to all my DJs. I put together a massive zip file of 100, 150 mashups every month. Send it out to my DJs. Guess how many mashups my DJs send me? Yeah, 0. Okay. No, wait. All the time. You need to email them. Don't send them in a text message. We went over this on Wednesday. So anyway, yes, thanks for sending me that. I will, Edge of Midnight. Okay. So actually what PDS Mix is referring to also is it's blowing up. It's happening again. Mashup culture is kind of having a moment again. And it's weird. And I think the last time there was a bit of a spike, I might have missed one, but usually it's a mashup goes viral. Pomme de Terre did a mashup several years ago of Call Me Maybe, which at that point was a huge hit. Was still pretty fresh in everyone's brains, and had a hole by 9 Inch Nails. And the internet blew up. They'd never heard a mashup before in their lives. And it was just oh my God, and so mashups had a bit of a moment. And this time it's not there's one particular mashup that everybody is just yeah, oh my God, listen to this. It's actually a bunch of them happening over and over and over again. DJ Cummerbun's The Devil Whopped Down to Georgia. I mean, there's a reason that shit got taken down off of YouTube after 72 hours. It was blowing up. Obviously, having a mashup of a super hot, super viral, super trendy, song helps. And then to mash it up with something as seemingly sacrilegious as The Devil Went Down to Georgia, such a genre clash. And Genre clashes is what brings the mashup scene attention generally. William Morancy had the same deal with WAP, where he mashed it up with Bohemian Rhapsody, and that blew up. I mean, it's like 1 million views and like that. And then also Cardi B herself actually like shouted out One Board Jew's mashup of WAP with Rihanna's S&M, which, is a good dance floor mashup. It's not nearly as like genre clash crazy as, Bohemian Rhapsody and WAP, or, Devil Went Down to Georgia and WAP. But still, like, here's a celebrity like actually shouting out a mashup of her own song, and basically signing off on it, So and that the thing is this isn't like it's not like just this past week. No, there have been like several things. Like Bill McClintock has been getting lots and lots of hits and bubbles, and people are like, oh my God, they're, and they get shared around. And like just today I saw like a TikTok that's kind of like blowing up a little bit, and it's a Bill McClintock song. And so there's this confluence of, between, YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, of people like playing the music and maybe doing like a little lip sync to it, or just showing a clip or sharing it, where things are definitely happening again with mashup culture. And to answer Dunproofin's question from earlier, yes, that is exciting to me, because I've never gotten bored with mashup culture. And I know a lot of people, I was talking about that early UK scene from, 2001, 2002. The part of the reason it was, mashups were dead in 2003 is because so many of those early producers in that scene were kind of declaring it dead themselves. They were like, oh, we did a thing and now we're over it. It was like cheeky, and, it was like as if like well, we've played it out, we've done all we can, and that's it. And that is not the case. It's like there's constantly new blood coming into the scene. And the thing is yeah, some people, it's their thing for a little bit. They make a bunch of mashups, they have their fun, and then they like retire. And then there are some producers that just sort of stick with it. And then the other reason why I think mashup culture is also having a little bit of a moment is because people, I think also part of the reason people would get burned out on it, and when I say people, I don't mean consumers of mashups, I mean the producers, is you kind of realize, oh, well, I'm never going to make money off of this, obviously, because it's like, okay, well, if you're a DJ like us, then it's like, okay, we make our money DJing, but like producing the tracks, no, we're never going to really, like the number of people who have made the transition from I'm a mashup producer doing this shit illegally to then becoming a legit producer is like very small. We're talking people like Danger Mouse and there's like Hood Internet started doing like, production. There was, Girl Talk, I guess, part of the reason he hasn't done any new mashup albums. Not that he was ever like kind of an A plus B mashup artist like so many people in this scene. He definitely kind of had his own flavor of mega mix stuff, that was kind of very separate from what we do here at Booty Mashup. But yeah, he went on to, just being a producer. So many of these people, it's like they just, they make that leap to, well, basic music production. Oh, you're a hip hop person. Let me produce your record. Oh, you're an indie band. Let me produce your record. That kind of thing. That's definitely what Hood Internet did. So, but as far as like strictly mashup, yeah, you're not going to make any money at it, right? But if you make mashups that kind of go viral, that definitely kind of make a video that ends up on YouTube, doesn't get taken down off of YouTube and gets 1 million hits and goes a little viral, Well, you can monetize off of YouTube. And I think that this is where, people like, Cummerbund and William Moranci and Bill McClintock are like, ooh, well, wait, this is the platform where it's like people, there's an audience here. And this is, no, I'm not going to get this mashup played on the radio. No, I'm not going to suddenly get a production gig because, somebody liked my mashup. But you can get attention and even make a little bit of money by posting your shit on YouTube. So not really, actually not a bad thing, So with this whole with that happening, of course, it inspires others. So there are a ton of people like there's another Andy Wu. Is someone who makes a lot of super pop friendly mashups. So I have to say definitely a shout out to the YouTubers. It's also interesting to see where things move around from. Where is mashup culture? Where is the culture based? It used to be message boards. Then it was like a bunch of Facebook groups, and now it's like I'm feels like I am just constantly ripping audio from YouTube. And trust me, I wish I had download links. I wish every YouTuber put like a download link to a high resolution, file, but instead here I am just ripping it and, whatever. I mean, Twitch audio is only 160 kilobytes per second anyway. And sure, you might get some like audio snobs at the club being like, that doesn't sound like a 320 MP3. You should only play AIF and WAV files. Yeah, drunk bitches don't care. Okay, I mean they don't. So yeah. Anyway. Yes, I'm not wearing glasses today. I mean, if you want, I can, but yeah, for Mashup Talk, I'm usually just sitting here going blah blah blah, and I'm kind of casually reading the chat here and there, but yeah, if you want everything I say to carry more weight, and if you want me to seem even smarter, I can do this. Does that work? Anyway, has anyone got any questions? By the way, I always love seeing mashup producers in the chat. So, Done Proofin', where the hell you been? I was like, I literally shouted you out not too long ago about like amazing mashup producers, and it's sort of like, where are they now? So it's always nice to to see producers from back in the day, work that we very much loved, very much respected, to pop up in our chat. It's like, and here I'm talking about new platforms and new exposure for mashups. I'm kind of focusing on YouTube a little bit, but hello, what are we doing here on Twitch? I mean, it's like we have an entire channel dedicated to mashup culture. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And shout out to COVID-19, because we would not be here on Twitch if it wasn't for a global pandemic happening. I mean, that's horrible, but yeah, seriously, we just keep finding new ways to carry the torch, really. Okay, you guys, I need to stop for 1 second. Is it over here? It's over there. Because this is bothering the hell out of me. Okay, so bear with me, because we're having a green screen fail over here. There we go. And, I was like, is that better? Yeah, my OCD was hella kicking in. There we go. Okay. It was mostly because of the camera. It was just a little off. All right, there we go. Thanks for bearing with me. CJ, DJ Hype. Yeah, I should mention that. Okay, so more things. But first of all, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks. I can't believe there's over 100 people who just tune in to listen to me go blah, blah, blah for an hour. But I hella appreciate it. And it is nice. It's nice. It's nice to have this weekly meeting with you all where we talk stuff, we talk shit and chit chat, and shout out to the Critters, fans of Critical Role, which is, for those who don't know, is a Dungeons and Dragons live stream here on Twitch. And weirdly, there's been a lot of crossover between the Critical Role fandom and the Booty Mashup fandom. And I used to play Dungeons and Dragons. So there's always been this sort of talk amongst people in the chat pod of whether we, we should do a Dungeons and Dragons thing. And I didn't really quite know how to do it. Like, I was originally kind of like trying to scheme as someone who used to play D&D, someone who DM'd a few games here and there. I mean, granted, I haven't done this since I was a teenager, but I was like trying to figure out a way. I was like, ooh, can I do like a mashup set, but do it like a dungeon master, where then you guys are the players in the chat pod and we have to kind of decide. It's like, okay, this way or that way. Do you fight or flee? And try to come up with mashups where I was like, very much like choose your own adventure. And each mashup, it's like, okay, depending on what the vote is in the chat pod of what the party should do, then the party being like the party, but also like the party of adventurers going through a dungeon crawl, I guess, a mashup dungeon crawl, and different mashups would get picked from me, the DJ, and it would be like D and DJ, but that sounds like a lot of work. And it will probably happen someday because the seed's planted, so eventually it will manifest itself into the real world. But no, we are going to have we're going to be doing a Dungeons and Dragons game. Myself, DJ Erson, Jupiter Gatling, and DJ Time, with CJ being the dungeon master. We're gonna get together via Zoom and do a D&D session, and hopefully it's gonna go well. And we're gonna all get our feet wet. For me, like, kind of get my feet wet again. It's been years, and then hopefully we're gonna live stream it. So it'll be a non-music live stream on our channel, just doing a the DJs that you know and love, doing a D&D game. So yeah, I'm super into it. So yes. All right, and today's show is apparently brought to you by Flensburger Pilsner. It is the last beer in the fridge. We need to go on a beer run. Let me tell you, it really is besides Jupiter Gatling being right over there, the beer is the best part about being in Germany, let me tell you. Yes, I do love my beer. I mean, I love beer and I love White Claw. And I actually got a little skinnier during Coronapocalypse because I wasn't at the club as much. So as much at all. Was not at the club at all. And I found myself that I discovered that, I'm mostly a social drinker. So when I'm not like going out several nights a week, DJing once a week at our big party in San Francisco, where, the drinks are free, I don't drink as much as I used to. And I was like, everyone's like, putting on the quarantine 15. And meanwhile, I like lost weight, not by exercising, because I sure wasn't exercising, but I literally think it was just like, wow, I stopped drinking beer for like, 5 months. So, but I'm back in Germany. So all that weight that I originally lost, I'm sure I'm going to put it back on again because the beer is good, So yeah, it's Smash Color. It's definitely one of the two. It's like either, putting on the pounds and also it goes in waves too, right? I mean, are you all, my Facebook feed and my Twitter feed lately has been like, everyone's kind of feeling that 6 month mark, right? Where it's like, oh my God, we're still in this. It's like, we're not. And it's like, all right, we're in it for the long haul, and like dealing with depression, dealing with, this numbness. Yeah, I mean, and we're feeling it too, which is but I gotta say this this channel, and I hope you guys feel the same way too. Being able to do this channel has been such a, I mean, it's good to have a project, and this was our quarantine project. And even after, COVID-19 is done, I mean, this is here to stay. I freaking love live streaming. I love having a channel. I love, but it brings up another point. So it's talking about, the different platforms that mashups are gaining attention. And I will say quarantine allowed us to sort of, and when I say us, I'm actually I mostly just mean me right now, where it was like, okay, it's that weekly grind of producing a party or producing several parties. Because there were weekends where we would be having a party in San Francisco, in LA, and Seattle, and maybe New York, all on the same weekend. So there was definitely like this hamster wheel party grind. And because, producing a party is a lot of work. All people see are me at the club, having a good time, drinking my beer, DJing tunes, and, that's the cherry on top of a very large Sunday of work that, has to happen. And being able to step off that hamster wheel and not produce a party every week allowed us to then obviously develop a Twitch channel, but I never really handled our social media before. Like, I had my assistant do that. We had a social media coordinator, aka DJ Innate, handle stuff. But of course, with no parties, that meant no income. So I basically had to, I didn't fire anybody. It was just more like, I can't pay you guys. So, so I started taking over all the social media, and I was like, oh wow, actually social media is fun. I like dealing with social media every single day and checking things, and it's its own kind of grind. It's like, oh wow, like it does take up a lot of time. And now I'm kind of like, okay, what's the next thing? Okay, I've kind of got Twitch dialed in. I've got a bunch of our social media dialed in. Where else? How else how do we spread the mashup love? How do we gain? The goal of Booty Mashup has always been to big up the mashup scene. And we did that in a club environment because myself and Mysterious D, who started Booty Mashup with me 17 years ago, now no longer with Booty Mashup, but, she was for many years. We both came up in the club scene. So, that was not only was it, as it turned out, as a way to, especially before the days of YouTube or Twitch, a way to monetize, so to speak. Make this, it's like, oh, wow, I can, try to make a little bit of a living out of this. Crazy. Well, now clubs are gone, but there are all of these different platforms, and I'm seeing things on TikTok. TikTok has obviously been blowing up, but yeah, I've always been trying to figure out well, where do mashups fit into TikTok? And do we have copyright issues to deal with that, which I'm sure we will. Are there, certainly there's copyright issues with YouTube. We post stuff to YouTube all the time, and sometimes it gets taken down, sometimes it doesn't. So just been trying to figure out how can we continue to spread the mashup love, to big up mashup culture, to promote the mashup artists that we love. I do love, I love trying to be the hub of the mashup scene. And, there hasn't been a real strong central hub since the Gaibo days, really. And for those who don't know, Gaibo, Get Your Bootleg On, was a message board. Now message boards are dead and gone. Nobody uses a message board anymore because there's, because we have Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've got TikTok, we've got YouTube, there's like all these. So, but the mashup scene fractured, it was like, it seemed like 90% of the mashup scene was Gaibo. And then there were always like some outliers, like the Girl Talks and the Hood Internet and, some people like that who, weren't really in the Gaibo ecosystem of mashup producers. And when Gaibo kind of ended, it seemed like, the mashup scene sort of scattered to the winds. There was like the Matchsticks crew. Matchsticks is another message board. But it was definitely like a smaller scene and kind of geared towards, like producers just sort of giving tips and tricks. Bandcamp. Yeah, there was like, there's a mashup producer I just discovered called Smidja. I put one of his older mashups on the Booty Mashup Top 10. And I'm like, how have I never heard of this person? And I was like, oh, Bandcamp. Bandcamp has its own like mashup scene. It's like Mastermind, who's now one of our favorite mashup producers, has been putting out like mashup albums on Bandcamp forever. Bandcamp was just like off our radar because I just sort of thought of Bandcamp as like, well, that's where you're an indie band. I mean, it's right there in the name, it's like you're like, you're an indie band producing your own music. And so it was really kind of off my radar and really apparently off everyone's radar, like my whole crew. No one said, oh, where you should go check out, because we all had that conversation. It's like, hey, where are you getting your mashups these days? Because, there's this Facebook group, there's that Facebook group, there's, soundhouse.audio, there's a bunch of stuff on SoundCloud. You favorite a bunch of producers, they only post their stuff on YouTube. So, but no one ever mentioned Bandcamp. So I'm now starting to kind of like dig through Bandcamp and Yit posted a bunch of his stuff on Bandcamp, and I was like, well, wait a minute, why isn't all your stuff on YouTube? And then he tells me, I was like, well, not everything would stay on YouTube, so the stuff that didn't last on YouTube got posted to Bandcamp or other platforms. So it's just like, there's no one-stop shop anymore for mashup culture. It's all over the place. So I really, Booty Mashup has always, we've always kind of felt like, our job is to, hopefully be the one-stop shop for quality mashups. And now that, we have much more free time, since we're not producing an actual party in a nightclub every week, it's now been like, oh, we make mixtapes. And I've got so many things coming. We've got another, we just released a Booty Mashup Top 10 next week on September 22nd. We will be releasing another mixtape. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but rest assured we will. And then if you're on Patreon, if you're one of our Patreon supporters, we're going to be releasing a synthwave mashup album. It'll eventually be available to the general public, but I've been loving Patreon because it's like just fun things. It's like, okay, here are the fans who really believe in you enough to, help support you and help keep us alive, help keep the lights on, help pay that web server cost, yes, Command the Dance. You're like, well, synthwave, what? Yes, it's like I thought it was going to be out this week, but it's, funny thing happened on the way to making a synthwave mashup album. I went down a fucking rabbit hole. Lobster Dust, who I'm working with on this, sent me a bunch of stuff, and then people are like, ooh, you're working on a synthwave album, and sent me a bunch of more stuff, and then and then it was like, okay, Starman, who is actually the synthwave alias of Yit, mashup producer. If you're familiar with our channel and with our Booty Mashup Top 10s, you've probably seen his name. Also sent me a bunch of stuff that was like, oh yeah, this got taken down off of Bandcamp, but here you go. a whole synthwave album. So it was like, it went from being like, yeah, I think I've got enough for one album. And now it's like, if I wanted to like, a 6 CD series of synthwave mashups, I could totally do it. But no, I want to narrow it down. I don't want to just like overwhelm you guys with everything. It's like, yes, I love this. Like, Starman is Yit. Yes. Yes, Anthony. Starman is Yit. Yit is Starman. We had this conversation on my show on Wednesday of like the alter egos of mashup producers, and how so many mashup producers often have like another alias. It was like, I mean, of course, the minute I want to like mention people, I can't think of anyone's name right off the top of my head. Help me out, chat pod. Let's test how big of a mashup fan you guys are. Give me some mashup producers who've gone by different aliases. I mean, there's Party Ben, who then released a mashup album under the name Dean Gray, which is actually a collab with Team 9. DJ Trip is mostly DJ Trip, but occasionally released a few bootleg remixes under the name Kill Fallens, which is mostly 80s remixes. Who else? Yit is Starman. You had DJ Nate, who... there was DJ Time and Nathan Scott, who then later became End Time. So they released stuff under 2 different names. I mean, I guess you could look at my work, which now is released under Adriana A. But, if you see A plus D, that was mostly me. I mean, it was a little bit of Mysterious D, but I'm the one who put it all together in Ableton Live. So, and CJ, Jack Roger. I am convinced that Jack Roger is like the alternate alias of somebody else. Now, I don't know that for sure. Jack Roger could just be Jack Roger, but I suspect that Jack Roger is, some other mashup producer. And then there's like, Mark Johns has produced stuff under other names. Instamatic is probably like the worst. He's like DJ No Instamatic. Obvious Productions, that kind of thing. So, there's a lot of, that is like one of these like mashup producer cliches to kind of release stuff under another name sometimes. So, oh, really? Wait, DJ King of Pants swears he's seen Jack Roger? I wonder if he's getting confused, because we'd actually booked Jack Roger for a Booty Seattle. But then they were a no-show, and we had to do like I think it was just Freddie who DJ'd that night. I mean, this happened like a couple times, so that I felt like we were being trolled a little bit, like by Jack Roger. Like, oh, I see what you're doing. We're gonna be like, ooh, we're finally gonna meet Jack Roger, and then like, oh, sorry guys, can't do it. I was like, ah. So yes, that happened a few times. So yes, Smash Color, we are all Jack Roger. So it's I'm gonna say Aunt Fernie. It's not unprofessional if you give us notice. It's only unprofessional if it's like an hour before the gig and then I need to scramble. Oh yeah, DJ Arison. Yeah, Shy Boy has released stuff as Brittany Houston. Actually, Shy Boy's the master. Shy Boy and Nubar are the masters of the they kind of release stuff under an artist name, like they did Madonna Summer, Brittany Houston, and what was the one with Rihanna? I want to say was it Rihanna, Beyonce? What would see? Does is she out? I wanted to ask Jupiter Gatling, but she's passed out right now. But yeah, they had another one. Beyonce. Oh, it was Beyonce? Was it Britney and Beyonce? I don't remember. Beyonce, that's what it was. Thank you. I love you, chatbot. Oh, God. Thanks, Arison. Thank you, Rami. Yes, Rihanna and Beyonce. So, God damn it. I miss Shy Boy and Nubar. I have like like at the beginning of the Corona apocalypse, I was bugging them every week of like, when are you guys gonna like learn how to live stream? And now I've kind of like given up. I've like utterly given up, and I feel a little disconnected from my Booty. They're my like Booty LA crew. Like they held down Booty LA, and I feel really bad that like I should bug them again and just be like, hey guys, it's like come and live stream. It's fun, but it also, I do realize there is a learning curve. There is a and I found this out the hard way. Those of you who might be a little more eagle-eyed with our schedule might have noticed that we originally had Satisfied, really great producer, love his work. He's been featured, we put, in the Booty Mashup Top 10, there's been several Satisfied with a 5, not the number 5, Satisfied mashups on the list. And he had done a live stream for Crumple Stock. Crumple Stock, was talking about like where the mashup scene is like scattered to all sorts of different places. Crumple Bangers is a Facebook group of people who post mashups, and once or twice a year they do a thing called Crumple Stock, where they sort of do like an online music festival, which they did right at the beginning of the Corona apocalypse, back in March or April, and Satisfied did a live stream that I thought was really good. There it is. There's the Crumple Bangers emote, and did a really great, what I thought was a really great set. So I was like, yeah, come and do a guest set on our channel, because I'm thinking, well, he already did this for Crumple Bangers, for Crumple Stock. But he like just kept putting it off. And then finally we did a test stream last week. It was like, I booked him. We're going to do it. Here's the date. Do a test stream, and then he didn't do one. And then finally it's like the night before. It was like last Friday night, a week ago, right after I did Mashup Talk. It was like, okay, let's do the test stream. And I was like, oh my God, this is like not, it's like shit was not working. Like he couldn't get his webcam to work, and then it did work, but then his audio wasn't working. And then, I was like, you did this before. But then I realized the way he did it was, I think he pre-mixed everything, had video to everything, and then just sent it to somebody else to live stream for him. So he wasn't, it appeared that he like live streamed it, but actually it was totally faked. So I was like, shit. And yeah, you know what, Yagana, you'd be surprised that there's a lot of people that really don't like streaming. Yeah, I am surprised. If you are a DJ, if you are a performer, if you like made your bread and butter and your lifeblood, like being on stage and, like playing music for an audience, and a global pandemic has utterly and completely shut down your entire industry, I would think that you would be like, well, the next best thing is going to be what we're doing here, what we've been doing for 6 months, is live streaming. So, but yeah, I mean, but I can see where some people would be like, yeah, you know what, this is not for me. It is, yeah. Oh, really? 15% of pro streamers don't really like it? Like, why would you live stream if you didn't like it? I mean, I guess if you're a pro streamer, then like, I guess if you mean by pro, they make enough money at it, especially with like, video game Twitch, which is, let's face it, the bulk of Twitch. Then I guess if you've monetized it enough, and then it's like, suddenly it's like, oh shit, this is my job, but now I'm stuck with it. Yeah, I can kind of see that, and it's also like, well, I could be working in insurance, or I'm, some shit job, or I can play video games all day and make money. So yeah. And yeah, it is true that sometimes when you do something that you love, and then suddenly you start making money at it, and now it's like, oh my God, it's not like, this is no longer a hobby. This is like an obligation. It gets a little, it can, yeah. And I understand that because I have been there. I mean, Booty Mashup started off as just like for shits and giggles, for fun. This was, always like, oh, we just love mashups and want to play them. And, eventually, and it wasn't like, it wasn't like we ever planned to make money. It was like, we started in 2003. I did not quit my day job until 2008. So we're talking like 5 years later, got to a point where it was like, oh, and it wasn't like, that wasn't the intention. It was just more like, oh my God, trying to throw this party and do these things and like travel around. That was at a point where we were expanding and like jumping around to different cities and like throwing parties in other cities. And it got to be so much. And it was like, fuck, I can't do my day job and do this. Like I just don't have the bandwidth for it. I literally had a nervous breakdown in 2007 where I just like freaked the fuck out. And so eventually was able to quit my day job, and it was scary because I loved my day job. I worked for a gay and lesbian newspaper doing, I was the art director. I did graphic design, and if you're familiar with our flyers, then yeah, I used to do all our half and half faces. So, I loved that job. So anyway, so yeah, do what you love, but sometimes what you love can be like, yeah, when it starts to become a job. Yeah. I love talking. It doesn't quite feel like a job yet, but somehow it is an hour and I'm like, oh my God, am I done? What? Is it time to get the party started? Wait, let me change the go live notification because we have got, our theme, as I mentioned at the top of the show, it is wild animals. And our DJs tonight are Pimp Daddy Supreme, typing his long ass name, and Lobster Dust. Stupid Kesboard. Where the hell's the and symbol? That's not it. Is that it? That's not it either. Why can't I find it? It's like, oh, this is so frustrating. There it is. Woo. So our theme tonight is wild animals, and it is definitely a big shout out for our Dance Commander Disco. Please join us in the Dance Commander Disco. Everyone's dressed up or probably going to be dressed, but you don't have to be dressed up. You do not need to be dressed up to join us in the Dance Commander Disco Zoom party. You don't even need to have your camera turned on, okay? You can just, join in the fun. There's a separate chat there, and it's, it will put you on the screen behind us if you do feel like, joining us. Sorry, I'm distracted. Now's the part where it's like, okay, it's the work part. I'm at work, you guys. I need to let Pimp Daddy Supreme know that he's about to go on. And it's Friday night. It is our Friday night. So please, don't forget. I know Friday night seems like the big night on this channel, but we also go hard on Saturday night. And tomorrow night is Talk Like a Pirate Day. We've got DJ and Nate starting us off with the Mashups Rock, and he also can rock a pirate look. And myself and Jupiter Gatling will be DJing tomorrow night for Talk Like a Pirate Day. So please join us. But right now it is time for Wild Animals. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, being here for Mashup Talk. I'm here every Friday in between DJ Airson's happy hour and before we get the weekend started. So have fun, be safe out there, everybody. And if you feel like tipping the channel, all the information's down here: Venmo, Patreon, Coffee. Every donation down there goes to help support the channel, helps support our stupidly expensive web server for hosting all the mashups that you can download and stream for free at bootymashup.com, and helps keep the lights on. So very much appreciate it. And it's Friday night. Let's party. Get ready for Pimp Daddy Supreme. If he does not pop up immediately, then hit refresh. All right. Peace out, everyone. Mwah.